Islamist extremism is a reality. Many across the world are living with it and in fear of it. I'm being joined by an Iranian dissident and activist who is living in exile in New York, in the United States of America. Masih Alinejad, who gives voice to many voiceless women of Iran, joins me in this exclusive conversation. In the wake of the attack we saw on Salman Rushdie, Masih joins us to tell us her story and how her life was under threat and has been under threat. Not so very long ago, just a week ago, a man it was an attempt on her life. He was caught and 3 days ago indicted. Masih, many thanks for joining us and sharing your story. This comes in the wake of one of the most dastardly attacks we've seen, this with regards to Salman Rushdie. But the threat to each one of you is real.
To be honest, it's shocking that this is happening in 21st century to Salman Rushdie, whose only weapon is his word, his book, his voice. And we, the people of Iran, condemn the terror attack on him, although the Islamic Republic of Iran, the leaders of the Islamic Republic, issued a fatwa against Salman Rushdie, and they actually asked for his head. But Iranian people loudly condemn that, because we strongly believe that when Khomeini issued the fatwa, and then Khamenei, the current leader of the Islamic Republic, repeated the fatwa, it created a foundation on his terror, on Islamic terror. And that is why Iranian people feel responsible to make this clarification that we, the people of Iran, are suffering from the same fatwa and the same religious extremists within the society as well. About my own story, to be honest, my only weapon is my social media. And as you mentioned, my crime is just giving voice to voiceless people, like women who don't want to be forced to wear a hijab, who don't want to be forced to follow Islam, to follow Sharia laws. But last year, the FBI stopped the kidnapping plot. And this year, they arrested a man in front of my house, having loaded gun in his car and being charged, indicted in New York, just trying to kill me.
You also mentioned in your social media that this is not Islamophobia, and you made a huge distinction, because there is a distinction from people labeling every Muslim a terrorist to women and people who suffer from Islamist terrorism and extremism. Elaborate.
Look, my mother is a Muslim woman. I have so much respect for her until the day that she doesn't impose her religion on me the way that the Islamists does, the way that Taliban, ISIS, the Islamic Republic is doing, imposing their own religion and their own belief on us. So when people label me and saying that you're causing Islamophobia, it's just ridiculous, because I don't have any phobia of my mom, but of course, I have fear of Islamic ideology. My fear is rational. Phobia is irrational. But if you don't have a fear of getting lashes, getting executed, getting beaten up because of not following Sharia laws, then, I mean, I have to say that you have problem with your mind. I mean, there should be something wrong with you, because ISIS, Taliban, and the Islamic Republic are scary, and their ideology, which has been written on our body, and the body of women, is scary. So I have to say that they can kill us, but they cannot kill the idea of writing and fighting against Islamic ideology. For me and millions of other women, the terror attack on Salman Rushdie and the assassination attempt on me, and many other, who dare to speak up against Islamic ideology, is scary. But at the same time, we are not scared of losing our own life. We are more determined to speak up and gain our identity back, because we care about freedom of expression, and we're not going to let the terrorists impose self-censorship on us.
Well, with this recent case, Masih, the fear is not just rational, it is very real. Now, we have social media platforms where people who have leaning towards such extremist ideology are getting influenced. Matar, who was a 24-year-old man who attacked Salman Rushdie, just 24 years old, and he went in with a knife. Another man outside your home with a gun. So the penetration in countries like the United States of America of people from certain regime who want to carry out an act ordered by a particular regime certainly is a huge scare for people like you who thought you were safe. In 2017 and 2019, Salman Rushdie said he thinks he's safe and that the past is behind him, but not really.
I mean, to be honest, the word safe, I mean, it's too luxury for us who care about our dignity, the truth, and speaking up against Islamic ideology. But I have to say that we have to put the blame on the Western country as well. Look, the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic, who issued the fatwa, repeated the fatwa against Salman Rushdie, is freely enjoying freedom of speech on social media, on Twitter. Twitter is banned for Iranian people. I mean, the same leaders banned 18 million people, but using social media to promote the fatwa and to encourage a young generation like Hadi Matar to go after Salman Rushdie and other people who dare to talk against Islamic ideology. As you see that Hadi Matar's old profile pictures showing that he was a big fan of Qasem Soleimani, Ali Khamenei and Khomeini. What does it mean? It sends a signal to the tech companies. Kick all these terrorists out from social media because they are using this to promote violence against journalists, authors, activists, and ordinary people on social media. Yes, I myself, I've been the target of the threats. Right now, many Iranian regime promoter, many like Iranian journalists who support the Islamic Republic right now praising the terror attack of Salman Rushdie, and they're saying next is Masih Alinejad. They get like 2,000 likes, they get like, blue tick and verified account on Twitter. So then they don't see any reason to back off or to stop threatening us. So for me, actually, I have to say that being under threat, it is scary, but I'm not scared of my life. I determined my life to give voice to voiceless people. What is scary here, that the whole world, like trying to ignore us and trying to shake the hands of terrorists, trying to have a deal with them and do not even let us talk. They actually care about giving platform to those who try to manipulate and actually support the terrorist Islamic Republic regime. And they give the platform to apologists who say that the Islamic Republic backed off the fatwa, which is a big lie. And I'm going to repeat myself. This is scary in 21st century that the dictators and terrorists are more united than the democratic countries. I call on the US administration and European Parliament and all the global feminist movement to be united. If stabbing Salman Rushdie and the assassination attempt to like on me is not an act of terrorism, then what do you call it? If you keep silent, believe me, the terrorists gonna come after you on US soil, on Western soil, and other countries.
My final two questions, Masih. One to do with you personally. How scared were you when you saw this man or learned of a man with a gun outside your building? How scared were you for your family, for your neighbors? This also, because you have listed out all those who have been targeted by the regime, dissidents, activists, killed, assassination attempts, so on and so forth. So personally, how scared were you that this could be very real?
Let's not talk about fear, because I strongly believe that the idea behind the assassination attempt of me and the kidnapping attempt against me is just to create fear. But let's just focus on that. Why are they doing that? Because they want to impose self-censorship on me, my neighbors, my friends, my fellow activists, journalists. some of the organizations, human rights organizations, stop like canceling the invitation because they are worried that they cannot protect me. Hey, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of being killed. And instead of isolating me, you have to isolate the terrorists. So I want to actually use your platform and tell you this. All these assassination attempts and kidnapping plot shows you that the Islamic Republic, the terrorists, they are scared of me. My word and my voice is more powerful than their weapon. And that's why they're coming after me in New York. So I want to call on all activists and journalists, be brave and don't let the fear bust you. You have to make the decision at the end of the day for your own life, for your own goal. But I have to say that the reason that I list all the assassinations attempt by the Islamic Republic, because I want to do my job. And this is my job to show the rest of the world that assassinating, terroring, killing, murdering, kidnapping is in the DNA of the Islamic states, the Islamic regime. And don't be fooled, don't be, misled by some of the apologists on Western media saying that this is happening because of the nuclear talk. No, since the Islamic Republic took power, since the Islamic Republic took the whole nation in Iran hostage, they started to take the American diplomats hostage. So yes, the Islamic Republic released all the American diplomats, but still 18 million people are hostage. Right now that I'm talking to you, the Iranian regime took US citizens hostage. They took British citizen. They arrested Swedish citizen, French citizen, German citizen, Australian citizens. They're all in Iranian prison right now. Why? Because taking hostage became a diplomacy for the Iranian regime. They're using these innocent prisoners like a bargaining chip to negotiate with the West. So here, yes,
right.
I want to just say this is not just me. I want to use the opportunity to give voice to those who are in prison right now. Jamshid Sharmat is an Iranian dissident who got kidnapped by Iranian regime. Now he's in Iran and he's waiting to be executed. Ruhollah Zam, Iranian journalist, got kidnapped from France to Iraq and then Iran. He got executed. It's not just me. It's about the ideology behind these assassination and kidnapping attempt, and the whole world is just watching. That's a shame, and the history will judge them.
You speak of the world. So my final question to you, August 15th marks 1 year of the Taliban rule in Afghanistan. As an activist, a woman who's been fighting for the voice of women across the world, what do you make of the United States of America, international community hardly condemning what's happening in Afghanistan today and the state of affairs of women in the country?
That's a total betrayal, what the United States of America did to women of Afghanistan. Look, I work for Voice of America. I live in America. I'm being supported by law enforcement. I'm actually very pleased that they're protecting me. But the US administration is not strongly condemning the terrorist attack by the Iranian regime, and they're not actually supporting the women of Afghanistan. And I call it a total betrayal. Look, the women of Afghanistan bravely challenging the Taliban. How many days being passed that girls in Afghanistan are not allowed to go to school? In 21st century, women just recently got beaten up in the streets of Afghanistan, but they're bravingly like facing the Taliban. They took to the street and protesting against Taliban. That actually sent a message to the rest of the world. If you do ignore the women of Afghanistan, the women of Iran, the women in the Middle East who are actually bravely challenging the religious dictatorship, if you ignore us, you will face the dictators on the Western countries. That's my message. And I'm sure that there are many Western feminists that are supporting us, many people, activists in India, in the West, around the world are supporting us. But that's not enough. If we are not getting united and we don't end the dictators, the religious dictatorship, they will end us and democracy.
On that note, Masih Alinejad, many thanks for joining us here on India Today.
Thank you so much for having me.